Hello, happy new moon. So much to talk about. Um, Before we get into horoscope transit stuff, as always, I offer a free 15-minute reading for a Yelp review. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, the link will be in the description to my Yelp page. And I've already had I think like 43 or something different reviews. Have been so cool, so sweet. I've done most of those readings, but if you did a review before, and because I know a lot of COVID was going around in January for a lot of people, so if you had to reschedule, come, let's schedule, let's do your reading. Excuse me. And if anybody else wants to, of course, do a reading, that'd be awesome. Or you could, of course, do the review after the reading too. So feel free to get in contact with me, info in the description. Or if you just want to book a reading, info in the description. Okay. What? My goodness, so much has happened. So much has happened. I think, first and foremost, with this new moon, and hopefully this works out. I haven't tried this before, but hopefully you're able to see there's not too much glare or anything. But I can't tell if there's, okay, I think that was working. So we have the new moon here. Sun and moon are conjunct in Pisces. We also have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces there. This is the last lunar cycle for the year that always starts with spring, March 19th, March 20th, somewhere around there. Sun enters realm of space known as Aries and begins a new year. So we are in the last of this last year, the last month, and we want to be focused on, okay, in my personal life, what has been developing since April of last year, basically, or late March of last year, when the new moon in Aries started the new lunar cycle. And what do I need to resolve? What do I need to heal? What do I need to emotionally process to be able to set the foundation for this next year coming up? And this is something that's good to keep in mind for the next 30 days, because it's not only with the new moon, but of course the new moon is the beginning of a 30-day lunar cycle. So being focused on this next month as the last month basically of the year is really good to keep that in mind. So speaking as per the situation in the Ukraine, first of all, my heart just goes out to the Ukrainian people. My heart goes out to Russian soldiers. This is not a popular war. I love languages and history. I have a university degree, a bachelor's in French and in Spanish. And part of learning languages is also in learning cultures and learning about different kinds of people. I actually speak a little bit of Russian myself. One of my favorite bands is Russian. And I'll be focused on doing an anti-war Russian song called Grupa Krovi. The band is called Kino in the coming weeks. I can feel so much emotion about this. This is such a heartbreaking, insane experience that really seems to all come down to the greed, the fear, the insanity of one person and his administration, Putin. I like looking at all sides, and I understand a concern about NATO, but I'm not trying to go on and on about this, because I know this channel is for astrology, and we'll get into the astrology of this. But I just wanted to say that my heart goes out to the people, because this is a senseless war. This is that's horrific in all senses. And as much as I'm hopeful with this lunar cycle that we've just begun, and we'll go into why, this is a deeply stressful, traumatic experience, of course, first and foremost for the Ukrainian people, but for people all over the world, including within Russia. And I think it's important to keep apprised, for those who feel inspired like myself, to keep apprised of what's going on and to know the information. But I've also caught myself in the last couple of days focused on this too much, worrying about this too much. And I think for a lot of people it's really important to keep in mind that with transiting Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius, hopefully you can see that there, with these two energies, as well as with the Venus and Mars in Capricorn up here as well, I hope that you're balancing your life. I hope that you're focused on the good that's happening in your life, and you're not letting too much thought of the future or potential and whatnot get you down. Because with Mercury conjunct Saturn, there's a tendency to become pessimistic. I think especially with Venus and Mars and Capricorn as well. There's a lot of gifts with these energies, but there can be the tendency to be pessimistic. And even though who knows what's going to happen with the situation, it's a deeply stressful. I'm not trying to say that it's not worth being concerned about and thinking about and becoming educated about, but we need to stay balanced and take care of our personal lives, because that's all we can really control. And because it's a global issue, because it's a human race issue, it's our species issue, it's going to take all of us working together, whether directly or indirectly through prayers and good vibrations and emotional support and whatever we can do to be able to resolve this situation. And I'm hopeful that this lunar cycle will see a lot of healing. Again, just from my perspective, I feel like Putin is grossly miscalculated here. I think he's miscalculated as autocrats do, because they surround themselves with yes people, and they think that because they're so powerful in their own country that they can do whatever they want around the world. And I think this is a bigger picture to keep in mind too, in terms of astrology, because with the last 2 years, 2020 and 2021, we had Jupiter and Saturn conjunct, first in Capricorn in 2020 and then in 2021 in Aquarius. And just recently Jupiter's moved on into Pisces. But this was the beginning of a 20-year cycle, and I'm very optimistic about these 20 years. So now the next 19 years or so, for peoples all around the world to come together. Already there's been so much growth in technology and being able to be interconnected around the world for the last several decades. You could say really the last 60 years, and even then you could go further back. I'm a student of history. I love history. So there's so much interconnected development. And I think that's one of the key things that Putin didn't understand, and that ultimately is going to yield great benefit for us around the world, which is what he doesn't understand is the world is more interconnected than ever. I think he's very much out of touch with how interconnected the world is, and how with technology we were able to see what's going on in real time, to understand what's going on, and to be able to support. There's so much more information, so that there's really no nation or people that is completely isolated anymore in the world. And so that kind of support, whatever form it comes, I think that's what the world has been learning how to do for the last 2 years with the COVID pandemic, of being able to unite and to be able to work together. And I think that this is just furthering that collaboration. It's horrible that people are dying, and it's horrible on both sides, and it's horrible. It's senseless. It's not like this had to happen, and it's not like we needed a negative inspiration to be able to do positive work in life. But this is a negative inspiration, and I think there is going to be a lot of positive long-term. I mean, it's so fucking terrible that death is happening. So I'm not trying to paint this as a positive situation, because this is all a trauma. This is all a tragedy, a collective tragedy. But I think looking at the big picture, these deaths are not in vain. They are helping the world to become more connected. And hopefully there's great peace in the near future, so that there doesn't have to be any more death. But I think that's what Putin doesn't understand is, and what maybe a lot of people don't understand, is humanity is growing more interconnected than ever. And in that interconnection, war is becoming more and more a thing of the past. Because as I've heard so many people when watching the news and whatnot say, even on the Russian side, it's like they have a Ukrainian grandfather, they have Ukrainian friends, or Ukrainians have Russian friends or kin. And it's just, in the long term, the world is becoming more united and more interconnected, and that's a beautiful thing. That's an inevitable thing because of the technological and socioeconomic growth happening around the world, and that's something to look forward to. It's just horrible that we need that, not that we need, but this has happened, and now that we need to sublimate a negative situation to a positive situation. So anyways, I just want to encourage everyone to not think too heavily about these things in terms of, don't let it get you down. Mercury conjunct Saturn, again, things, it's very possible, even though this is a very strange situation that's continuously evolving and who knows what will happen, at the same time, we want to keep in mind that Saturn conjunct Mercury does tend to be pessimistic. So let's not get too caught up in the future and imagining what terrible things could happen. And let's stay focused on what we can control. And again, let's not let negativity or cynicism or pessimism get us down. Yeah. So again, I hope that this new moon, this next lunar cycle, sees healing and peace for all of us. It's certainly supporting it. I feel like a weather person. I am kind of a weather person, really, when it comes to astrological weather. So all of this Pisces energy is seeing a lot of love, a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion, and again, I think a lot of processing emotionally from this last year and what we want to experience for this next year. So obviously, collectively, we want this kind of peace, we want this greater empathy, and I think for each of us in our individual lives, where does the collective development come from? It comes from our individual lives. And so I think that's a good question to ask yourself, because we're at the new moon. It's always good to set intentions for the new moon of, cool, what is my next step? How do I want to grow over the next 4 weeks, and especially with the next 2 weeks of making a lot of progress and having some kind of major event or experience in about 2 weeks' time with the full moon? It all starts with the new moon. The seeds of intention happen now. So meditation, that's really key always with every new moon or any lunar cycle. But especially with this particular lunar cycle, because of all this Pisces energy, is a really great way to get in touch with our emotions, which is such an essential thing during this time period. It's always essential, but it's especially essential during this time period with all this Pisces energy, to be able to make the most of dreaming up a better future for ourselves and making it happen. This next month is so beautiful for that. So I really just want to encourage you to focus on that, and know that with that, those imaginings, dreams do come true. During any kind of time, but especially during a time period like this. Oh, yeah. So last thing, I'm working on finishing my first book. I'm very excited. As those who watched that video know, I finished the first half of it recently. So if you'd like to get the first half, you can get the book, the first 50,000 words, which is a lot, first 6 chapters of the book, in the description. You can go ahead and just send the $10 to my PayPal email, and I'll send it to the email with your PayPal account, or feel free to enter in a new email if you'd like me to send it to a different one. But there's a lot of good stuff there. I'm really excited about it. It focuses on building empathy, understanding ourselves and understanding other people, and understanding just life in general on a vaster psychological and spiritual level. So it's a lot of stuff that I've poured into heart and soul, and from my mind, from what I've learned from the last decade. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'm very happy with it, and I'm very happy with moving forward with the last half of it. It should be, I think May 1st is that's I think a good goal. That's my goal, to have it completely done. But again, you can get the first 50,000 words right away. And then the last half will be about probably 45 to another 50,000. Yeah. Infinite love to you, my friends. Peace and love and self-awareness and awareness of others. Empathy is more important than ever. It will continue to be important, and it will win out. Absolutely will win out. Definitely. It's terrible that we're going through this experience, but these forces have always won out, and they will win out time and time again, now and into the future, if ever we face anything horrific like this again. But again, let's not focus too much on the future. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Breathe. Make sure you're getting good deep breaths in. Again, we don't want to get too caught up in our minds at this time. Peace.